I'm spilling the tea on the common things we did not spend on for our intimate wedding, what we chose to spend on, and most especially the money tips that allowed us to have a wedding without the financial stress and pressure. Let's do it. What's up, guys? It's Nick. As you know, I'm a recovered shopaholic, now a money mindset and life coach, empowering Filipino professionals to fund their dreams into reality. And one of which is their dream wedding on their terms. So I've coached Filipinos who are planning to get married, planning their dream wedding, also planning to have their own wedding celebrations. And it's because it can be so easy to give into the pressure of what a wedding should look like. And also it can be that pivotal event wherein it could really put in financial stress in you as a couple when you haven't even gotten married yet. So I wanted to share my experience on how my partner and I were financially prepared to plan our own intimate wedding and how it also allowed us to feel more at ease now that we're transitioning into married life. If you're all about that, then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel where I talk all about mastering your habits and mindset around money so that you can feel financially prepared and confident in tackling these new milestones and chapters in your life. Now, let's talk about those money tips that allowed me to have a financial stress-free wedding. First and biggest thing to consider is that make sure you define your non-negotiables as a couple before you spend on anything for your wedding. It's important that before you hire any supplier for your wedding, before you hire a wedding coordinator, before you hire anyone or spend on anything in relation to your wedding, is that you sit down as a couple on what your vision is for your wedding, and not only your wedding, but how would your life look like after the wedding? What would your living situation look like? Because all of that would really take into consideration what your budget would be, wherein in such a way that you'd feel good about covering all of these expenses. So not only do you have a clear vision for your wedding, but also you're clear on your goals as a couple for your marriage. So for us, it was both a blessing and a challenge that I've shared in this channel, that we had to move into our new place and plan for our wedding all in the same year. And basically, nagsabay-sabay siya in like the last 2 quarters of the year. And so for our wedding, the 3 things that we wanted to really imbibe is that it's going to be intimate, it's chill, and it's going to be financial stress free. Those are the main things that we really wanted to embody. And so if it didn't fall in line with that, then we take it out. We don't even decide on spending on it. And the second thing is that how are we going to plan for this wedding at the same time as we are moving into this new place that I'm currently in. And so hindi siya biro, I would say. That's why I would say, like, it was a challenge, but at the same time, we were grateful that we were able to immediately settle down together after the wedding. Our living situation was exactly where we wanted it to be. Like we were talking about, parang saktong-sakto lahat ng mga pangyayari. And so, because of that, it made sense for us na to have an intimate wedding so that we get to cover all of the wedding expenses and at the same time, like, all of the costs in relation to moving into the place, like turnover fees, appliances, contractor, interior design, condo dues, and all of that. So we had to consider everything in one spreadsheet so that we would really be mindful and intentional about every single thing that we spent on in such a way that is aligned with the vision that we had for our wedding and our living situation as we are already married. That being said, I actually asked in my Instagram, like, what are your juiciest questions about the wedding preparation? And one of the questions was really asking, how do you decide on how many guests you're going to invite? Because this is a really juicy question, because the number of guests that you are going to invite really would be a huge factor on what your budget would be to spend on for your wedding. So for us, essentially, we decided on having an intimate wedding celebration at Tagaytay, and we only ended up at 13 guests of our immediate family from my partner's side and my side. And that was in Chapel on the Hill, where we had our church wedding. And then we had our dinner reception right afterwards in Girasol, which is nearby Chapel on the Hill. And then as for extended family, extended relatives and friends, we decided to treat them in separate days instead. So we've had the extended relatives before our church wedding, and then another one after our church wedding, and then we have two more celebrations in January. So para siyang post-wedding celebrations. And so essentially, para kami nagkaroon ng 5-day intimate wedding celebration on a budget, because at the same time, it was budget friendly, but also it allowed us to really dedicate more quality time and spending with our loved ones. Kasi yun yung importante sa akin, is that we really get to spend time, quality time together. And for me, like our church wedding, our reception, it was so special. It was really intimate. And what made it really special was that my siblings who were living abroad, I haven't seen them for years, were finally complete in one event. And for me, that already made the event really special, even though we were only a few people there. And so I feel like we really achieved our priorities, our vision for the wedding, which was intimate and chill, and at the same time, and we know that the expenses would be covered. And so when we got the financial support and cash gifts from our relatives, they really became a bonus for us, and we were more grateful that we received those kinds of gifts and support as well. So the things we did not spend on, I didn't hire a wedding planner, a wedding coordinator, I didn't hire a makeup artist, I did my own makeup. The thing that I really wanted to get help on was my hair, so I did get help from my hairstylist, and I really loved how my hair turned out, because I know hindi ko kayang i-DIY yon. And so it's really super important that you acknowledge your strengths and your weaknesses. And so for me, I know that I already know how I like my makeup to be done. I didn't want lashes, like false lashes. I just really maximized the mascara that I had on my lashes. I know how I wanted my eyeshadow to look like. As a past recovered shopaholic, minaximize ko na lang yung mga sadamamak na makeup na meron ako at yung mga skills that I've acquired through the years, and I'm really happy how it ended up to be. I also decided not to spend on a custom wedding dress kasi nung nakita ko kung gaano kamahal yun, guys, I think the one I initially was like, oh, this is nice, this is really great, was like 40,000. I'm like, I would rather use a 40,000 for the appliances for our condo, for the travels that we can have together, for, you know, setting up our place, for the interior designer and things like that. So that's why I decided to opt out of that and decided to buy a ready-to-wear wedding dress from Karimadon. And I really like how it turned out because it was simple, it was minimalist, and most especially it was comfortable to wear from the church wedding to the reception. So I just wore the same dress. I didn't really change outfits anymore. And I felt like it was more opt as well, since we were only a few people anyway, and that I only get to wear it one time. And I'm happy that I only spent that amount on a ready-to-wear dress. I would say the biggest things that we really spent on was the photo video supplier, because for us that was really special to capture those moments there, the moments with our families, our pictures together. Although we did not decide to get the same day edit package, eventually we're going to get it in January pa, which was totally fine for us. And then second thing that we really spent on was the venue for our church wedding, which was on Chapel on the Hill in Tagaytay. So we wanted to really get a picturesque church location na, and not worry about styling and designing the place. So we did not do anything in the church. We didn't have any like mga carpet sa gitna or flowers, yung arc, ganyan, because those really add up in terms of cost. And for us, we just really wanted to maximize the location in itself. And I like how the pictures turned out in the end, that it was very simple, but it was really special, and that it really also captured the essence of the area, which was the picturesque view of Chapel on the Hill. So that's why we were more than happy to spend a little bit more on that. And it was essentially like donation to the church anyway, so that was great. So we also spent on the priest to do the celebration, of course, and then we also got help from the commentator to do the ceremony. But at the back end, I was the one who planned like how the whole wedding ceremony would look like at the church. So yun yung parang medyo kailangan mo asikasuhin ng bongga. But then, I like how I knew how everything was gonna go down. I assigned who would be the ring bearer, the cord bearer, the veil, and all of that. So it was just a matter of like, on the day itself, it was just going to roll out as I planned it. And then I didn't hire a wedding coordinator because I actually just got help from my older sister to be on top of how the ceremony would be. So the great thing is about maximizing your resources. Like with my sister, she used to like handle a lot of events back in her corporate jobs before, and so also, she also planned the wedding of my older brother before, and so I know she knows how everything goes down already. And then for me naman, like my wedding was so like chill and intimate, and it was gonna be a breeze to like handle on the day itself. And so I asked her months before if she'd be okay with doing the wedding coordinations on the day itself. And so I'm so grateful for her because she was able to like really make sure everything is in order for the church, the photo video supplier, and all of that, because it really like allowed me to let go of that on the day itself, because pinlano ko na siya months ahead. Now I just like handed it over to her so that everything would go in order. We also had the custom suit for my partner, and so that was really special because I really wanted like how the specific color I wanted it to look like. So it was a mix of a cash gift for his custom suit, and then some of it was also, it came from our own joint funds for the wedding so that we could fund his suit. I remember the next day after our wedding, we were like, wow, like there's nothing really that we would change from how everything turned out. It was exactly how we pictured it, how we planned it to be. Of course, there were some things that were unexpected, like yung ring na like the rings that were supposed to be brought to the church, na iwan siya dun sa hotel sa Twin Lakes where we had our stay. And so good thing is it was just like a few minutes away, our hotel, to the chapel on the hill, so we were able to get that right away. So may mga ganong moments sa parang few minutes, like I think 15-20 minutes before the church celebration, yung rings pala nasa hotel na iwan, yung mga ganong moments. But I believe those were very manageable in the end naman.
On one of the things that were also unexpected na medyo nakakawindang was the getting our church permit and marriage license. Madugo siya, guys. Dapat ginawa namin siya, I would say 3 months before, pero ginawa lang namin, halos tinapos lang namin lahat like 1 month before our church wedding. And so for me, medyo nakakawindang, unexpected na ang dami palang kailangan asikasuhin, like your pre-kana seminar, you going to munisipyo. We went to munisipyo like 4 times, I think, back and forth. Yung pre-kana, we could have saved a lot more on that, pero we ended up doing a one-on-one workshop instead para mahabol talaga namin siya, which turned out to be really, really beneficial, by the way. Pre-kana is like basically a marriage preparation seminar. We got ours in CEFAM. I'll link it down below. And it was so helpful. Actually, like, got us emotional. Ako sobra akong, I didn't expect na the one-on-one workshop would be so impactful, but it really was. So even though we paid like 8,000 for the pre-kana, which is like more than double than the usual group seminars that you can get for pre-kana, it was really, really helpful for us as we prepare for our marriage. But thankfully, we weren't stressed financially about covering all of that. It was really just the planning situation. Sumabay nga sa move-in namin to our new place. And so we really had to juggle both. And so that's my tip, is that make sure that you like plan and like finish the church permit and the marriage license at least 3 months in advance.
But other than that, like in terms of how we spent on things, how we spent time with our loved ones that day, it was exactly how we wanted it to be. So that leads me to my second and really important tip that couples often missed out on, is that be comfortable having money conversations with your partner. Like from the very start, be comfortable and upfront on what your expectations are from each other in terms of delegation of expenses, how much you're going to save every month so that you'd be able to cover all of the expenses for the wedding and what happens afterwards. Because what I've seen, the biggest problem that newlyweds deal with or couples deal with from coaching my clients is that the communication, the miscommunication, or the misalignment of expectations when it comes to money. Like oftentimes you realize that a lot of their money problems, the money stress could have been prevented if they were honest from the very start about their money worries, their money expectations, their goals for each other. And so that leads me to one of the biggest questions that were asked in my Instagram poll as well, was asking like, how do you divide the expenses? Who will pay for who? How do you delegate or divide the expenses among each other as a couple? And so this is something that has to be very custom to you as a couple on what your expectations are around money. Because what I've shared before is that you cannot expect what you do not express. What we did as a couple, from the start was that, so when we got engaged last year, December 2021, by January, I literally created a spreadsheet of like, okay, here are the possible expenses for our wedding. Here are the possible expenses when we move in together, because we know it was gonna happen at the same month. And so I aligned that with him in terms of, what do you think we should prioritize? What do you think we can let go of? What are the things that we need to adjust and move around? How much do we need to save every month, so that when we get to the tail end of the year, we would have enough funds to cover for all of these life changes happening to us. So essentially what we did, we started building a savings fund together. Actually, even before we got married, I've shared that before in like one of my previous YouTube videos on how we were financially prepared for this chapter in our lives. And so everything that we spent from that fund was a mutual decision. What's important is that we have set the expectations on how much we're willing to spend on for the wedding, and also how much we are willing to save up every month. For instance, when there was a time that I was so tempted to get like that 40K wedding dress, buti na lang pinag-usapan namin, and like, it really became a mutual decision between us. Parang, if I were to have that kind of wedding dress, edi sana I would have a different kind of wedding. Like, it wouldn't really match to the intimate wedding celebration that we had, na parang, why would I spend that much on a wedding dress when we really had just a chill celebration? And so in terms of how you're going to divide the expenses, it's completely up to you as a couple. I cannot impose a parang, this is how we do it, and so that's how you need to do it as well. Because sometimes your partner may want to pay for a bigger chunk. Let's say for my partner's family, for my in-laws, they were more than happy to financially support us for the other aspects of the wedding, like for the hotel, for the dinner reception, and all of that. So even though we had funds to cover every single thing in our wedding, we were more than happy to receive the financial support from our relatives, from our in-laws, and all of that. And so what's important from the very start is that we planned the wedding as if we weren't going to get any help. And so when we received financial support and financial help, we were grateful that we got that extra helping hand. So what I really coach my clients on in this situation is really being comfortable in sitting down with their partner on setting their expectations around money. Because I really believe there isn't a one-size-fits-all on what would work for all couples. It depends on you, how you're going to sit down together and have a conversation on what's really going to work the best for both of you. It's so important that you get to be transparent to your partner about your financial situation, about your worries around money, so that you get to really open up about the times when maybe you need help. Maybe you need to be more transparent about your current situation, so that hindi mo kinikimkim lahat, hindi mo pinoproblema lahat ng mga expenses nyo, when in reality, you are now going to work as a team, as a couple. And if there's anything that I want you to take away from planning your intimate wedding, is that you get to really be so transparent with each other about your money situation, about your goals, about your money goals as a couple as well. This year that we have planned our wedding, honestly, I feel like this is the biggest we've grown together as a couple in planning this wedding. Like, I really felt like we were a team in doing everything together. Yes, there were challenges. Yes, there were some misunderstandings and miscommunication. But for me, what's important is that we faced them head on, and we didn't just like brush them aside. We didn't put them under the rug. We were so upfront with each other, so that we could immediately confront the problem, confront what we're worried about, and move forward as a team and find a solution together. Because for me, that's what really allowed us to not feel stressed, not feel pressured financially and mentally on our wedding day, because we were so aligned with how everything was going to turn out, what we were gonna spend on, who we're gonna pay on the day itself. Like, if there's one thing I wish didn't happen, which I've shared also in my Instagram stories, was that I actually got sick one day before we were gonna go to Tagaytay. Like, it was so, like, frustrating and annoying because even though I really took care of myself, I was slowing down with work, it still happened. Like, I rarely get sick, like 1 to 2 times a year, and it happened pa on the crucial day. But then I realized, like, I just accepted to just let go of control, that I just powered through, and thankfully, like, hindi naman ako nahihilo. For me, yung hilo lang at saka yung body pains were not there anymore on my wedding day. It was just like, sinisipon at saka inuubo ako, pero kinaya ko, tiis ganda. And it made me feel so grateful also for my partner who took care of me at that time, na who was so understanding of my situation. So that's why I said, like, all of these challenges that we went through together, we faced them as a couple. It really made us stronger as a team. And so if there's anything that I really want you to take away from planning your intimate wedding, is that how can you grow better as a couple when you do this? How can you feel more aligned and find more solutions as a team? Because this is what I've loved coaching my clients on when it comes to facing money problems in their marriage or in planning a wedding. All of the expenses that come with it, is what I love seeing with them, is that how they're able to take the lead with having money conversations with their partner, being upfront with their money worries and all of that. Because for me, that's what's really going to allow you to feel one as a couple in making better money decisions, when they're able to fund their dream wedding, their dream celebrations in such a way that financial stress is not part of the equation. Rather, it's something that they're excited to fund for. You can check the link in my bio if you want to read stories about my clients who have exactly done that after our coaching time together during my coaching program. Because what I really want to use my platform for is that it's 100% possible for you to fund a wedding on your terms, where there is zero financial stress, zero financial pressure. With that, I just want to give a shout out to my crucial suppliers for my wedding, because you can also check them out in the description box below. First is for my flowers, my bouquet of flowers. Those were dried flowers that I really wanted to, like, reuse their condo as a decoration as well. So I really love how my bouquet turned out, and that was from florishon.ph, and it was gifted from a friend, and I love how it turned out. And second, of course, for my church wedding, it was on Chapel on the Hill. I would really recommend checking that out. It was so breezy, and at the same time, ang ganda na ng location. I didn't have to do anything with it. And of course, third, for my photo video supplier, Lovely Tales Photography. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook if you feel like you also want a chill and candid, moments that you want to capture for a wedding, for your wedding, because I feel like that's exactly why we wanted to get them as a supplier. And of course, my hairstylist, Albert Muyo Hair, you can check him out on Instagram. He was such a delight on my wedding day. He was so helpful. He also did the hair of my mother-in-law and my sister. So check him out if you are going to have a wedding in Tagaytay. It's super great to have a supplier nearby. And then shout out for the hotel we stayed at, which is at Twin Lakes. And then for our dinner reception, which was at Girasol, like, they were so helpful. We had our intimate dinner reception at their wine cellar location. Like, we also didn't have to do anything in that location. It was already picturesque. So that's what I really recommend, is that you choose locations na hindi mo na kailangan mag-style, because usually yung styling yung malaki talaga yung budget. And so we didn't have to spend on that anymore, because we just chose really nice locations already. And if you want to learn more money tips on how you can be financially prepared for your engagement, for your wedding, for your married life, then you can check out this video for more juicy tips and stories, and I'll see you there.